Hi and welcome to my Scarab build videos. I'm not going to do one of the traditional build videos where I'm going to take a model, for example our Scarab carbon armour that I have here, and just build a model from woe to go, because that will just teach you how to build one model. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to build all the various components of a Scarab, because a lot of the parts are in common. The motor mounts, for instance, are the same on all models. The booms all go together the same. The frame, although it might be a different shape, assembles the same way. And the basic principles involved in building something as simple as the carbon armour right through to a Y6 or a Vampire, or my favourite, the Tricopter, are all the same. All the parts tend to be common. The swivel mount that is the camera gimbal is the swivel mount for the tail of a tricopter. So basically, once you've learnt to build all the basic sections of the airframe, you're pretty much ready to build any model you want. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to concentrate on how the different sections go together. Some of the stuff will jump around a little. For instance, when you're building the actual bottom plate of the frame, you need to worry about what you're doing with legs, but I'll be doing the landing gear in a separate video. So you may need to watch through the various different videos to get an overall idea, and then go back and look at specific information for the different sections. So I'm going to place that aside for the moment, and some of the things you're going to need for the build. Okay, so you're going to need some hand tools. The first tool you're going to need is the 1/16 hex driver that you can buy from Multi-rotor. It does come included in some of the kits, but you will absolutely need that. You will also need a pair of side cutters. I find very handy a pair of surgical hemostats. In fact, actually, I can't work without these things. I find them absolutely invaluable. I also have a couple of different size hex drivers, a 2mm and a 1.5mm. You don't use the 1.5mm too much, but it is handy to have. You're also going to need a few other bits and pieces, some of which get included in the kits in the way of consumables. I go through a lot of heat shrink tubing. I get this in lots of different sizes, 4mm, 8mm, 2.5mm, probably the more common sizes that I use during a multi-rotor build. I also go myself all the way up to 20mm, which I use to label booms and stuff for better orientation. I'll get to that sort of tip and trick later. You will also need some double-sided tape. This is Scotch brand. It's the external use double-sided tape is my preference. I find it almost impossible to remove, which makes it a very, very good item to use. And probably the most neglected but most important thing you're going to need is some Loctite. This is blue Loctite, model 243, or medium Loctite. You will need this. Any metal screw that goes into metal, you absolutely have to put Loctite on it. Neglecting to use Loctite in your build is probably the best way you're going to find to crash your multi-copter. It's just going to happen sooner or later if you don't use it. I've also got a few other things you need. I've got soldering iron, solder, small files, some sandpaper, stuff like that. So you need to have all that sort of stuff. And of course, cable ties. I go through hundreds of these. These are a 2.5mm by 100. I also use a couple of longer sizes depending on where I am in the build, but Cable ties and double-sided tape will ease you through a fair bit of the build. Okay, alright, so I'm going to come back and start working on the first section of the video. As I said before, I'm going to jump around a bit for different sections, so it's probably the best idea if you look through all the videos and then come back and look at the specific section.